Senator Brown.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. And I certainly agree with the previous speaker about the importance of apprenticeships. And when speaking to the Trade Supports Loans Bill here and the Trade Support Consequential Amendment Bill here, they of course, Mr Acting Deputy President, established the Trade Support Loans Program for Australian apprentices. Now, the establishment of this program was a commitment of the Abbott Government in the lead-up to the last election. However, Mr Acting Deputy President, what Mr Abbott did not tell apprentices was that the coalition was going to scrap Labor's $1 billion Tools for Your Trade program. He was deceitful, Mr Acting Deputy President. That deceit now means that what was thought to be an optional loan available in addition to the $5,500 Tools for Your Trade payment, is now the only financial support this government will offer apprentices. The Abbott budget has taken an axe to the vital supports for Australia's apprentices and workers. These short-sighted decisions put our nation's skills base and future job creation at risk. These cuts highlight the hypocrisy of Mr Abbott's earn or learn ultimatum to young Australians. And it hits apprentices, those starting out in their careers, those who can least afford it. One Tasmanian man, and I've mentioned this gentleman in the Senate previously, when he contacted my office to say he was raising his grandson, who was lucky enough to have an apprenticeship in bricklaying. His grandson is in his first year of his apprenticeship, and he brings home about $400 a week, and of course he pays his board. He is worried that his grandson will not be able to purchase his tools without the support for the Tools for Trade program. He does not want to see his grandson take out a loan when his income is already very low. These and other concerns are all reasonable. Yet the minister has been unable to explain the program and address the concerns which have been raised. In fact, the Abbott Government gagged members in the other place from raising the very real concerns of apprentices, their families, their employers and by the industry, and of course the very real concerns that have been raised in this chamber and the other chamber by members of Parliament. Labor will support this bill because, Mr Acting Deputy President, the Abbott Government has axed all other support for apprentices starting out their careers, and Labor will not leave apprentices with nothing. However, Labor thinks there are a number of important issues which do need to be acknowledged. A significant issue for those who have already commenced their apprenticeship is that there are no grandfathering arrangements for those who have made financial commitments based on the Tools for Your Trade scheme. Another issue Labor has raised is the lack of information about the total liability that an apprentice will face under the trade support loans. The minister has been completely unable to clearly and properly explain what this liability might be. Given that Ms McFarlane is unable to answer questions around the financial liability, you can understand why, Mr Acting Deputy President, that people in the community might have concerns about young apprentices taking on a debt under the program. Labor is also concerned about inadequate protections for school-based apprentices and other apprentices under the age of 18. These concerns remained unaddressed by Mr McFarlane. In the Senate committee inquiry in the other place, Labor has also raised concerns about the adequacy of the privacy protection under this scheme. Also of significant concern is the government's decision to offer these loans as a monthly payment rather than a lump sum option for each year. Many apprentices also struggle to live fortnight to fortnight on low wages. Providing monthly payments will not be of assistance to these apprentices who need to outlay large sums of money upfront to purchase expensive tools and equipment. This may lead to the situation where apprentices will need to take out loans from other institutions to be able to buy the tools and equipment they need to start their apprenticeships. What this means is that these apprentices will be taking a loan out from the government to repay the other loan, and may even lead to the temptation for many apprentices to use these loans as a wage supplement. It is for these reasons that the Shadow Minister, Sharon Bird, sought to move second reading amendments in the other place, and Senator Carr and Lyons will be moving second reading amendments in this place. These amendments seek to address a number of concerns that have been raised in relation to this scheme, but that the government has failed so far to address. Labor understands that providing real support to apprentices and others who set out to train for a career is important. We understand the importance of creating opportunities for young people, but it is obvious, and in spite of the rhetoric, that the Abbott Government is not genuine about supporting young people into employment. In fact, the budget cuts to education, changes to higher education, cuts to support for apprentices, cuts to New Start, the punitive approach to young people who find themselves unemployed show the government has no real interest in supporting young people and developing their opportunities. Youth unemployment is undeniably and unacceptably high, especially in my home state of Tasmania, where some parts of the state it is as high as 20%, or 1 in 5 young people without a job. Yet Mr Abbott has completely dismantled the crucial programs that support young people into employment. Not only does the budget cut nearly $1 billion in support payments under the Tools for Your Trade program, which I'm sure Mr Acting Deputy President would know that the Tools for Your Trade program, as I understand it, was an initiative of the Howard government, but it was also slashes a further $1 billion in investment in skills and training. The Abbott Government has taken the axe to vital skills and training programs such as the National Workforce Development Fund, the Workforce English Language and Literacy Program, the Australian Apprenticeships Access Program, the Accelerated Australian Apprenticeships Program, the Australian Apprenticeships Mentoring Program, the National Partnership Agreement on Training Places for Single Parents, the Alternative Pathways Program, the Apprenticeship to Business Owner Program, the Productive Ageing through Community Education, and the Steps into Skills program. These programs are critical in providing basic literacy and numeracy skills, supporting apprentices and upskilling existing workers to meet the needs of the modern workplace. The government have tried to appease community backlash, and there has been considerable community concern about these cuts by announcing a paltry $5 million for an apprenticeship mentoring. This does not make up for the axing of the $1 billion investment in skills and training. If the government truly recognised the benefit of mentoring apprentices, they would never have cut the Australian Apprentice Mentoring Program in the first place. The Abbott Government has betrayed Australian apprentices and workers with these cuts. Investing in skills delivers a growing economy with strong employment and improved productivity. The Abbott Government refuses to invest in Australia's workers, industries and regions. They are selling our future short. Many apprentices have huge costs for tools and equipment. They will be now left with a debt under the Abbott Government's program rather than being provided with funds to purchase tools. Many apprentices, including the young apprentice bricklayer I was referring to earlier, who have already commenced their trade, will now have the payments they were expecting to receive cancelled. This could mean up to $3,700 for the first year apprenticeship has been lost in future payments. The provision of the optional loan is not opposed by Labor, but it should not have come at the expense of the Tools for Your Trade scheme, and should have appropriate advice requirements in place to ensure informed and voluntary decisions by apprentices, some of whom are school-based apprentices. The Abbott Government took the axe to support all apprentices, as well as axing the Tools for Your Trade program. They've also axed, as I've said, many other programs that are designed to support apprentices. The trade support loans of $20,000 will be available to school-based apprentices aged between 16 and 18 years, and the government has failed to put in any measures to protect children, such as requiring a parent to accompany them. The government has also confirmed that they are looking to outsource debt management for trade support loans and are potentially happy to settle 16-year-old children with $20,000 debts and leave them in the hands of private debt collectors. Mr Acting Deputy President, this is one of the most savage cuts in the very long list of skill programs cut by this government. In comments in the Australian newspaper, Tony Nicholson, the Director of Brotherhood of St Lawrence, makes the point that learn or earn demands on young people require the government to provide the support and training programs needed to get young people the skills they need and get them into work. The Australian Apprenticeships Access program assisted vulnerable job seekers who find it difficult to enter employment with nationally recognised pre-vocational training, support and assistance. The program is delivered by local providers who work with local employers to deliver training to meet industry needs, and participants receive individualised intensive job search assistance. This government has taken the axe to the support of all apprentices. There was no warning to young tradies about the cut to the tools for your trade before the election, and they are quite right to be furious about these cuts. The budget also cut the Australian Apprenticeships Mentoring Program, a program for young people who face barriers to participation. The program helps apprenticeships successfully complete their apprenticeships and provide support to their employers or supervisors. Mr Abbott has slashed nearly $2 billion out of skills program, and over $1 billion of these funds supported apprentices. Labor put in place real support to help young people, particularly in rural and regional Australia, get up and finish an apprenticeship. Mr Abbott is ripping this support away, and young apprentices with the world at their feet will not get the support they need and deserve. Whilst Labor, as I've said in my contribution, we will not be opposing these bills. We ask the government to very seriously consider the issues highlighted in the amendments that Labor senators will move in this debate and putting forward to make the scheme work effectively and fairly for apprentices that this legislation is intended to assist. So, Mr Acting Deputy President, I do ask the government to seriously consider the support for the second reading amendments that Labor senators will be putting forward, and I ask them to do that to ensure that this scheme in some way does work effectively and fairly for apprentices, Australian apprentices, and particularly for apprentices from my home state of Tasmania. Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President.
Thank you.